and get started here, and I'll handle your question first, Cindy. First and foremost, guys, thank you for being here. I'm David Radney. Feel free to call me D-Rad. That's my nickname I've had for the past 30 years, and feel free to call me D-Rad. We're going to talk about for sale by owners today, and the reason why this is so important to me is that I was always afraid to call my database. I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but I'd rather call a stranger than call people I know. David, I hear you. And so when I moved from Houston to Dallas, I didn't have a sphere of influence. And so in order to build my business, a mentor that I had, Jeff, said, you need to call for sale by owners. And he's the one that told me FSBO, FSBO stands for your fastest source of business opportunity. And he told me I needed to call them to get listings. Unfortunately, he never called them because he had a sphere of influence. So he wasn't able to coach me on what to say and what to do. I had to take classes and watch videos and, just kind of put myself out there and learn through the school of hard knocks. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of be the mentor for you guys that I wish I had, someone that could walk me through, the mindset of a for sale by owner, what I should say, because I know that a lot of the reasons we're not calling them right now is because in our minds, that drunk monkey is loud. And that drunk monkey is saying, why would they list with me? They want to be a for sale by owner to save money. They want to, not pay the commission. So why would they ever hire me? And then you're also thinking, how can they afford to pay me? You just don't get it and you don't understand it. And so one thing I want to talk about today is the mindset of a for sale by owner and what they're thinking about so that we can create some opportunities. And I promise you this, if you are serious about what we talk about today, I'm going to give you a script that's not my standard for sale by owner script. It's just a short 3-question script that will get you in front of for sale by owners this weekend. And so I don't know about your county, but look at the counties you have. In our county, it's probably 40 to 50 for sale by owners. This strategy, when I was using it, I was getting 70% of the people would allow me to come by. So out of the 50 for sale by owners, I could get appointments with 35. What I want you guys to do when I go over this script with you, I want you to commit to getting one appointment with a for sale by owner. And you will do that if you just pick up the phone between now and Sunday and make the calls. I'll tell you exactly what you need to say. It's super easy. It's not rocket science. And all I want you to do is take off your sales hat. Don't put all this pressure on yourself that on the phone you have to close them, because that's not what we do with FSBOs. We don't close them on the phone. We have to get in front of them and get belly to belly. So take off your sales hat and just make the call. Be a consultant. So you guys ready to get into it? All right, let's get into it. So I do have a for sale by owner script, and yet here's my thoughts on the script. You can read them straight from the paper, right? You should have them internalized, but you can read the script straight from the paper. I want to spend more time actually going over what the for sale by owners say to us, because that's what keeps us from actually making the calls. You're on here to learn scripts. Guess who's also learning scripts? Every single for sale by owner. They're learning what to say to us agents to get us off the phone so we don't call back. So it's just a matter of who's going to outscript who. And I have to say, I'm so happy that Cynthia joined really quickly, because before I get into this, I'm always telling you guys, some for sale by owners are going to be on Zillow, some will be on for sale by owner.com, but you still have the throwbacks, and they're out there. They go to Lowe's and they go to Home Depot and they spend that $25 and buy that for sale by owner sign, write their phone number and put it in their front yard. And that's all they do, which means the only people who know about their home for sale are the people that potentially happen to drive by, right? Cynthia, I don't know if you're able to unmute. If you aren't, I'm okay with that. If you are, I'd love for them, just like in 2 minutes, can you tell them about your experience?
Yeah, it was, my husband was actually working across the street. He's a chimney sweep, and he knew the people where this for sale by owner was. There was just one little tiny sign, and he called me up and told me. He took a picture of the number. I called the guy up, and I explained, it's actually his aunt that passed away. And I said, you remember Tom, the chimney sweep? And he's like, he was asking his mother, who's 96 years old, and they remember him. And he goes, well, I really don't want to list with a real estate agent. So he just kept saying, like, he was very nice. He just kept saying, no, no, no. And I was like, you know what? And I started trying to give my value. And I said to him, have you ever sold a house before? No. And I just kind of like went into a lot of the things that you've taught us over the time. I was on the phone with him about 10 or 15 minutes. So yesterday I actually met with him. I got him to agree to let me come. I said, can I just at least have a half hour of your time? Which of course was not a half an hour, it was much longer. But I said, just to sit at the table and talk to you about what we do or how I could help you. And if you decide to do it yourself, that's fine. So he didn't commit, but we were there for, I went with my team lead as well.
Okay.
And did a really nice presentation. And the house looks like a hoarder's house. So he's waiting to get the tenants out. But I think we have a good shot to get it. So I'm going to reach out to him next week after he's had a chance to think about it and talk to his attorney. But I really thought about a lot of the things you've taught us. And I texted you yesterday, David, knock, knock, knock. It's 2:00. I have an appointment with you. Can I come in?
I love it. And here's the thing I'll say, and I want you to, speak on this. Was this for sale by owner on Zillow?
No, that's what I couldn't believe. That's why I texted you and I said, is this possible that this is only on his lawn? And he had one on his lawn, and I'm telling you, little, like it was not a $25 sign. And then he had one down at the bottom of the hill, like, which was kind of a more main road. So I asked him, I said, how long have you been trying to sell this? Because he told me the aunt passed away like 3.5 years ago. And I said, how long have you? And he goes, oh, a couple of months. And I was stunned. I said, a couple of months? Oh, I said, and so how many offers have you had? And he's like, well, one, which was really, really low. And one, the guy wanted to put $1,000 down. So I couldn't believe for months. I mean, the house has a lot of potential, but he has no exposure. So I went into everything, like the kind of marketing we do and, all that kind of stuff. And, and his parents, 95 and 96-year-olds, were sitting at the table with us. Nice. And they're completely with it and shaking their. All of a sudden, the mother goes, I remember Tom. He was telling me one time a problem you had with your kid. And I was like, yeah, that's the
one. I love that. So let me ask you this. So you said they've been on the market 2 months. Do you happen to know the average days on market in your area for a house? Average days on market?
We pulled out all the comps, and all the ones that have sold were like 7 days, 10 days, so 13 days.
Let's call it 10 days, right? 30. Let's call it 10 days.
I said.
Yeah. So he's been on the market for 2 months. How many generations of buyers have come out and bought property? Right. So he's been on the market for 2 months. Yeah. The average house is selling every 10 days. Right? There's an argument on why he needs our help. Is he playing the waiting game, or is it a marketing issue? It's a marketing issue.
Yeah. And I don't know. And I even know a builder that probably would buy that house. And because he's like, well, I've got to empty. And he's telling me he is going to physically empty this house that is like jam packed. And I said, that's a lot of work. We can give you the name of somebody that can do a clean out. We can give you the name of someone that would clean it for you. Like, I was just trying to give a lot of value and what we could do to help him. But I just said to him, in this market, if something's not selling, it's the price or it's the location. There's really no other reason why. So
I agree.
I thought
it's not even the location, though. Well, it's not even the location, because you make up for a bad location by adjusting the price. So it's always price. Let me just say this to you guys really quickly, and we'll get into the objection handling. When you're talking to a seller like this, you need to have some examples and you need to have stories. They don't necessarily have to be your story. If I was Cynthia and I was talking to that seller, I would talk about a friend of mine, Patty Gurney, who listed a property in, I want to say it was Mahwah or Ramsey. It was a hoarder house, like this particular for sale by owner. This hoarder, and please excuse me, I know this is gross, they had a habit of defecating in the house all over and just leaving it there. And Patty was able to sell this house with all the contents, including the feces, and it sold for over list price. So if you have a story like that and you're dealing with a hoarder like that, you can say, hey, we had a situation in our office and someone was able to market this property. You don't have to be bothered trying to clean this up, because that's going to take time. Time is going to cost you money. I can price this property in a way where someone will buy it and they can take care of emptying the property. So by being in the office, by having conversations with people, by paying attention, you don't have to have the story personally. You can have it from someone else's experience, and that'll help you break through a lot of times when you're talking to for sale by owners, because you can talk about their specific situation. Cynthia, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I want to get into it, and we're going to get right into some objection handling, because Cindy, was one, she was actually the first person on the call today, and she doesn't have any experience selling. Raise your hand. Anybody else hasn't sold anything, right? And you guys are like, why would you ever choose me? I don't have any experience. Why would you ever work with me? So I have a couple of things that I want to say about that particular objection that you get from people. Number one, when you are prepared, like my push program, when I train people and they're prepared and they know the listing presentation, they know the script, and they can, deliver that with confidence, the seller never even brings up how many houses have you sold? How long have you been doing this? It doesn't even come up most of the time. When it comes up is when you don't know what to say and you just go on the appointment and you wing it and you don't know what you're talking about and you're trying to build rapport. Oh, you play the guitar. I love the guitar. Then they're like, how many houses have you sold? Right. So I will tell you this, that's going to come up more when you're not prepared. So what you need to do is two things: get prepared by coming to classes like this, taking trainings like Push, and then also stop saying that you're a new agent. That's a script that's playing in your head and you're psyching yourself out on making the calls. So I want you to stop saying you're a new agent. I want you to say, man, it feels like forever, right? I've been doing this. And I want you to not say that ever again. No one will ever know unless you tell them that you're a new agent. So that's number one. However, what if it does come up? What if they ask you, how many homes have you sold? Show me. And you don't have any experience. How do you handle that? I have a way to handle that, but I'm going to toss it out to the group. We got over 40 agents on here. A seller says to you, listen, I like everything you say. I like you. However, I want someone that has experience. I'm looking for an agent that has experience. How do we handle that objection? And the way I want you guys to think about this right now, I'm not D-Rad, the real estate coach. I'm a seller and I have $1 million property. I'm willing to pay 6%. I like you. However, my only issue is that you don't have the experience that I'm looking for. So if you want this $1 million listing, which is potentially 60 grand in commission, what are you going to say to me? What could you say to me to actually get this listing and get me to work with you? How would you overcome that objection around experience? I'll wait.
I can help.
Okay, let's go.
Do I have experience? Well, I'm part of the largest team in all the NJMLS in New Jersey. We've sold more luxury listings than anyone else. I have a whole group of people who do staging, help you clean out your home. I can go further into it.
So let me pause you right there. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's better to just start talking about why they should hire you, or should we be asking some more questions?
Oh, you should.
Because initially in my head, the first thing I want to say is, what's important to you about having an agent that has experience? And I know Ashley's like, damn it, David, that's what I was going to say. But Ashley, expand on that a little bit, because I know one thing I know about Ashley, guys, this is Ashley. We met on TikTok, 2 years ago? Ashley makes the calls every day. I'm on her live lead gen call with her, watching her make calls. So when she speaks, listen to her, because she's doing this every day. And this is who you want to surround yourself with, people who are actually making the calls. Ashley, how would you handle that?
Hold on, don't big me up that much. I fumble the bag every time I'm in front of my peers.
But hold on. You never fumble the bag. Either you win it or you learn something. But like I said before, it takes 2 L's to spell millionaire. We're going to have some losses. We got to put ourselves out there, and you got to be in the game. I'm okay if you fumble it. I'm not okay if you just sit on the sidelines and not make the call. So give yourself some grace. You're doing it.
Oh, I was just talking about in front of y'all. I'm really good on the phones. Anyway, so I totally understand. Let me ask you, what's so important to you about having a more experienced agent?
Well, listen, I've had a lot of people call me, and I'm looking for someone that has sold homes in its neighborhood. I have a pretty unique house, and I want to make sure I'm hiring someone that can get me top dollar. I need a certain amount when I sell this property.
Right. And how would you feel if you not only had one person for your home, but you had a whole team of people for your home to make sure that your home sold for top dollar in this neighborhood?
No, how do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, you said what's important to you was experience in this neighborhood, right? So what if I told you that I had a team of people that could help you that had way more experience than I can, which backs up my office all in this neighborhood? How would you feel about that?
I mean, I think that sounds interesting. However, I really want my agent that I hire to have the experience. I'm going to be dealing with you, right?
Right. And what's more important for you? For me to have the experience or to have the hunger to want to get your home sold?
Hunger. I like that you say that. I believe in that. I believe in that. It's important for me to have someone who's like dedicated to me and understands my motivation and my goals, someone who's going to work hard for me for sure. That's important.
Right. So your main agent has the hunger and the focus only on you and has a team that can back her and has experience in this neighborhood. So not only do you get a hungry agent, you get a full office of 500 agents that are good in this area and the top agents that are going to be so willing to guide me through to make sure you're successful. Do you want one agent with 100 sellers, or you want one hungry agent with 100 team members?
Huh. That's okay. You guys like what she did there? And Ashley, I like what you were saying. Like, listen, I'm hungry. I think it's okay for us to have conversations and be real with people. I can't tell you how many times with the FSBO, I handled it just like Ashley. And I said to him, like, I understand you want someone with experience. Let me tell you the advantage of hiring me. Number one, I need the experience. And you know what that's like. You've, graduated from college and went to apply for a job and they didn't hire you because you didn't have the experience. And you're like, how can I get the experience if you don't hire me? I mean, we all have dealt with that, haven't we? Any seller you say that to will understand where you're coming from. And you can say, just like Ashley, listen, I'm hungry. You're the only client I'm going to have. And the way I build my business is one house at a time. So I'm going to pull out all the stops to make sure that I do all the marketing and that I get your home sold. And I have partners in my office that will work with me on this. So the experience you're looking for, I have hundreds of years of experience behind me and people to support me in helping you get your home sold. And what I will tell you is you're going to get 2 or 3 agents for the price of one when you hire me. But the most important thing is you get me, and I'm hungry and I'm going to make sure the job gets done. So will you give me an opportunity? Like, just go for it. Speak your truth. Like, it's okay if you don't have experience. We all have. Every single agent on here who has sold a house started out without selling a house, right? We have to get the experience somewhere, and people can understand and they can resonate with that. So, Cindy, that's how I would handle it, like what I said and what Ashley said. But then also keep in mind the importance of script practice is so that when you show up, when they invite you to come to their house, they believe that you can help them. The minute you open your mouth, you're going to either win it or lose it. The way you lose it is by not being scripted, not knowing what to say. This is why you guys are here, so that you can start learning the conversation and how to have, dialogue with the seller and get the opportunity. Ashley, go ahead.
I just wanted to share something really quickly. So as a testament to what David's saying, I remember my very first listing appointment. I had no experience, but guess what? I've been through push. And I was also doing my presentation and all of that, but she said yes on the phone. And I was like, oh my gosh, she said yes. So I went into this lady's house with my listing presentation and I did all of that. And she didn't ask me once how many houses I sold. Once we got into the halfway through the transaction, when she realized I was not really knowing certain things, she asked me, but I got the listing already. I already was under contract with the buyer. It didn't matter at that point. But right. I went into that with what to say, and I got it easily. Yeah. I was shocked, but I got it. My very first listing.
I'm not shocked at all, because like I said, when you are following a script, they don't know that you're brand new. You sound professional. I don't know. Is Brianna on here? I don't think Brianna's on here. Anyhow, Brianna went through my push program and we had a live listing presentation practice. She killed it. And people didn't know she was new. She hadn't even been on a listing appointment, and she did a better job than veterans that I know who are doing it for 10 years. No seller is going to think that she's brand new, and that's how it should be. Here's the one thing I want to address based on what Ashley said. And I can speak on this from a personal level because I remember I wasn't making my calls because I was afraid the seller was going to say yes. It wasn't the negativity. No, I don't want to work with you, and people cussing me out. I was afraid if I called a for sale by owner, they would say, okay, come out and meet with me. And then I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle that. So, one thing I will tell you, and this is the way, I structure things and push. Before we even talk about FSBOs and expired scripts, we learn the listing presentation. Because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. We teach you exactly what to do when you get a listing. And then you're like, okay, I got it. I have the confidence. I know if someone says yes, I know how to handle it. Now let me figure out how to get on the phones and what to say. And it's so important that you guys don't wait until you get the opportunity to start practicing your listing presentation. You want to do it now because people will say yes. If you show up and you make the calls, you will get your yes. I want you to be prepared when you get your yes. All right, so I'm gonna throw this out here, and I want somebody other than Ashley, because I know Ashley knows this. I want somebody else to raise their hand. Hey, I'm not listing my house right now. Just bring me a buyer. Bring me a buyer. I'll pay you 3%.
I could definitely appreciate that, David. And just out of curiosity, do you want me to bring you one buyer or multiple buyers?
I actually want you to bring me. I just need one, man. One who's willing to pay my price.
Sure, and I can definitely appreciate that, and I understand. You know, we're always looking to get the highest price for our sellers. And as a buyer's agent, actually, do you know what our job is?
I mean, to find houses for your clients.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is one of our jobs as a buyer's agent, is to find houses for my clients, and it's to find the best house for the best price with the best terms for my buyers. Now, are you willing to put that on the table and have an agent like me negotiate against you?
I mean, Diego, I hear where you're coming from. I am an attorney, so I'm not really too concerned about negotiations. I feel like I can handle that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could definitely understand, you know. And now, that being said, you're an attorney. Just, you know, what type of law do you practice, David?
I'm corporate. I work for a pharmaceutical company.
You work for a pharmaceutical company. Okay, I understand. Now, out of your regular workday, how many hours would you say, you know, you're busy handling things with corporate America? I mean, I could probably imagine you're very busy throughout the day.
Anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day, typically.
Yeah, 10 to 12 hours a day. No, I get that. Now, David, you know, like I mentioned before, if you want just one buyer, if you want multiple buyers, and you do want to get the most money for this house, don't you?
I mean, that's the whole point of me not paying the commission. As a for sale by owner, I want to keep that commission to myself so I can make the most money. So yes.
Yeah, no, I get that. And look, I understand how you feel, and I've had other people that have felt the same, where, you know, they think if they're not paying a commission, you know, they're definitely going to put more money in their pocket. However, after they listed with me, they've found that I actually brought them multiple offers, and they got to decide which offer suited their terms best, right? Because
Hmm.
you just want to entertain one offer with their terms and their price, or would you rather choose an offer that would work with your timeline, your pricing, and your terms?
I mean, of course, I want the one where I can choose. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I could do for you, David. Now, all we got to do is just sign the agreement, and I'll get to work right away for you.
All right, Diego, I like that. Thank you. I appreciate you raising your hand. Now, Diego, let me ask you this. When I said I was an attorney, we get that a lot, or we get people who say, I can fill out the paperwork. I can handle that on my own. I don't need an agent for that. You know, what if we said to an attorney, like, no doubt, I know that you could handle negotiations. I know that you can handle, writing up the contract, but do you have a buyer to negotiate with? Do you have a buyer who has signed the contract? You don't? That's where I come in. You're hiring me to find that buyer. So I think that's one of the ways we can handle that, is by addressing the fact that maybe they can handle some of the things on the back end. Our job is to get out front and find them the buyer who's going to pay the most money for that home. And so we got to bring that up and address it. But good job, Diego. Thank you. Alberto, then sorry, go ahead, Diego.
No, I said, and say, I wanted to go down the route with the time, because if you're so busy, you're not going to be able to answer all these buyers' phone calls, and that's important.
It's important because most sellers are working. Not only are they working, they have kids, they have family, they have sports. And you got a busy life already. Real estate's a full-time job. Focus on your full-time job. Let me do my job. Let me go to work for you. Take that off your plate. It's something we have to address. You're absolutely right. Alberto, what's up, sir?
Yes, David, I understand that you want to pay the 3% to buyer's agent. But if I can show you a way where I can more than make up for that 3% difference in commission that you are looking to save, you'd probably work with me, wouldn't you?
I mean, I don't even understand how you could do that. It doesn't compute to me. That doesn't make sense. If I pay you commission, how am I going to make more?
That's what I like to meet with you. It's gonna take only 20 minutes of your time. Are you available at 3 o'clock today, or WOOF will be better?
I could do 3 o'clock.
Okay, okay. In order to be there at 3 p.m., I have a couple of questions for you, David.
Okay, I love that. You're going right into pre-qualifying. That's great. Now, Albert, what I like about what you did, Alberto, you got to just kind of keep it short at times. You're not going to answer all their questions on the phone. Our job is to actually get the appointment. We want to get in the door. And Cynthia, before I go to you, I just want to go to the script really quickly because I want to make sure we don't lose track of time. 3 questions that we should be asking for sell by owner if we want to get a quick preview. Now, this is not the way I always do things because I want to make sure I'm not wasting my time getting in front of a FSBO that's not serious. But I just want to give you a quick 3-question script that will get you in front of people. All right. So this would be the part where you get a piece of paper and, jot down some notes and, Okay. So here we go. So is the home still available for sale? I represent a group of buyers that look for off-market properties, and I want to be able to tell them about your property. Would that be okay with you? What are they going to say? Yes, right? Great. And so when they call me and ask me about the house, I want to know what I'm talking about. So I need to come out and just take a quick look. What's the best time, tonight at 6 or tomorrow at 4? And then go see it. You don't have to sign anything. I'm just coming out. I want to take a look at the property, make sure the buyers that I have, know about your property. I promise you, if you call and you say those 3 questions this weekend, you will get a preview. And actually, every single person on this call, you're on here because you want to start getting listings. I double dog dare every single person on this call to use those 3 questions and call it for sell by owner and get an appointment this weekend.
Can you repeat those, David, please?
I sure can. Is the home still available? Would you be open to me sharing it with my buyers that are looking for off-market properties? And so I'm prepared for the questions they ask me. I need to set up a preview. Does tonight at 6 or tomorrow at 4 work best? That's it. Don't worry about looking at the for sale by owner and seeing it's $50,000 overpriced. I get calls from agents all the time. Should I even go see this FSBO? It's like $100,000 overpriced. I'm like, of course you should. If it was priced correctly, it'd be sold. You want the people who are overpriced. Stop psyching yourself out and giving yourself reasons not to call. Those are the people you want to go see. So I just have a question here. I have how many people on this call? 47 people. In the chat, don't bullshit me. In the chat, you guys on Facebook too, just type in yes if you're going to take me up on that challenge and get on Zillow and call a for sale by owner this weekend and get a preview using those 3 questions. And you're going to keep calling until you actually get someone that says yes. What did Ashley say? You hungry? Or are you like, I can eat? I'm hungry. You guys are on this call. That shows me that you're hungry. I expect to see 47 yeses. And if you didn't put yes in the chat, maybe just remove yourself from here. Like, why are you even here? We're not here for infotainment. It's time that we actually start putting in the work so that we can go and get money. You guys ready to get listings? Now, let me tell you this. You're going to call these FSBOs and you're going to go see them. And they're going to say like, if we don't sell it, we're okay. Maybe we'll keep it on the market, for 6 months. And if we don't sell, that's okay. I'm not in a hurry, right? Don't buy into that. That's just what they're telling you to outscript you. It's like when I go to buy a car and I'm trading my car in, the guy's like, well, how soon do you want to get in the car? I'm like, I'm not in a hurry. I'm just looking for a great deal. Little do they know, I had to tow my car around the car dealership, around the corner from the car dealership, and drive it into the lot because if I drove it more than 5 miles, it would overheat. I needed a new car that day, but I'm sitting there telling him like, I'm not in a hurry. If I find the right deal, I'll buy something. I needed to buy something. These sellers need to sell their house. They're telling you things to keep you from, continuing to follow up and stay in touch. But if their house is on the market, it's on the market because they need to sell. I hope that you know that. And your job is to get in front of them and show your value. Hey, Mr. Richard, what's going on, sir?
All right, I had a question for you and everybody else. This is the issue I'm running into with calling FSBOs. A lot of the FSBOs I call are in up and coming neighborhoods, and the homeowners haven't lived in a home a long time, like less than a year, and they're competing with the builders that's around there. So, excuse me, how would you go about approaching, a FSBO who doesn't have the equity in the home to, let's say, pay you and another agent, a success fee, and they just may be like a little confused about the process?
All right, so two things. Number one, success fee. I haven't heard that before. I like that versus commission. That's different.
Yeah, I like to use that instead of commission. That way, it just kind of sets me apart from other agents.
And it does. Okay, I like that. So here's a question I have for you. It's all about motivation, isn't it? True. And this is why I don't typically use that 3-question script, because before I go out and meet somebody, I want to dig into motivation. Like, okay, you're selling this house in this neighborhood where there's new construction competition. Why are you selling? Like, why is this important to you? What is this going to do for you? My script, I dig into motivation. So I know, like, this is a seller who has to sell. And when someone has to sell, when they're competing against new homes, they have to price competitively. And maybe they don't have the equity built up. So they're going to have to go borrow some money and borrow against their 401k or put some money together at closing. People do that when they're motivated. And I can tell you this just from personal experience. I moved to New Jersey from Texas. My wife got a promotion and we had to sell our house in Dallas. We had just bought our house. We weren't in the home for 2 years and they were still building new houses. So when my agent's having an open house at my house, the model home was having an open house and people were looking at my house and then looking at brand new construction. So I know exactly what that's like. And guess what we had to do? We had to price it competitively so that people saw the value of buying our home versus brand new. Did we want to do that? No. We had to move. We had to come to New Jersey. So we had to come up with the money in order to get our home sold. And to me, this is why it's so important that we find for sell by owners that aren't just testing the market and doing that make me move price, but people who have to move, because when they have to, they're going to figure it out. They're going to borrow money from someone. They're going to get in advance. They're going to tap into their retirement, into their savings. It happens. And so you need to really spend a good job, in my opinion, understanding what the motivation is. And when you understand that, those are the buttons you can push when you're having conversations with them. It's a tough situation, though. I didn't feel good about it, and yet we had to sell, and I didn't have a choice. And so I don't want those sellers who are like, well, if I can't get my price, we're just going to stay here, because I know they're not going to get their price because of the new construction. So you want the motivated people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, these are definitely people that's moving because of job transfers.
Yeah. And so actually,
they really don't have a choice. So yeah,
they don't have a choice, and they don't want to rent it out and move to another state. I mean, look at what happened during COVID. People had these rental properties, people weren't paying, and the owner still had to pay the mortgage on the property. They don't want to lease it out. They want to close the chapter and move. And so you got to paint that picture for them, and you can only do that when you understand the motivation.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I saw someone's hand go up and then it went down. Who was that? Cito? I think it was Cito.
Yes, it was me. Actually, I wanted to ask you a question. I have a person that wants to renovate their home completely from like ground up. How do I convince them it's better to just go ahead and buy a house, another house? Because she's kind of contemplating in between either should she renovate her house completely or like sell it and buy it. How do I convince her that it's better option for her to go ahead and buy a new home? Because it is kind of small for her as well, you know?
Well, I was going to ask you, is it better for her to buy a new home?
Well, she's kind of worried because she said her house needs like a lot of work. So that's still her objection is she wants to sell her house, buy a new one, but she wants to do reno to her house. So if she does reno to her house, she might as well keep it. But to me, I feel like it's not worth for her to do the renovations and stay there, because by the time she does renovations and borrows the money, it's better off for her to just buy a new house, bigger one.
So let me ask you this. What would be the advantages of her having a bigger house? How would that benefit her?
Well, she can put the same money into having a new house, and better probably location is pretty good. She's in a good area, but she would have a bigger home, doesn't have to worry about spending money, breaking things down.
No, but you're missing my question. What's important to her about having a bigger house? Why would that be important to her?
Because she has 2 kids that are growing up now.
Yeah.
And she needs more space.
She needs more space. And what would that do for them if they have more space and her kids were able to grow into the house?
I guess it would probably be more convenient for her, and it would be easier for her. So she's not feeling compact. They have their own little space to go to, because the daughter's about to become a teenager. She wants her own, like, space constantly. They don't have to share a kind of small areas,
So Cito, can I coach you on this real quick?
Yes, please.
I heard you say something that I don't like hearing from agents. I guess we shouldn't be guessing motivation. I want you to call her and I want you to go over the 5 questions. You guys might want to write this down too. When you're selling this house, where are you going to next? That's number 1. What's important to you about selling this house? And dig into it. If they start talking, say, tell me more. Get them to start talking about what's important. What will that do for you once you're in that bigger home? And then ultimately, how will you feel when you're in that bigger home? Like, so when your kids have their own room and they have their own closets and bathrooms and they're not arguing and fighting anymore and everybody's happy and you guys have space to breathe and not be on top of each other, how's that feel? Like, based on what they tell you, ask those questions. And then you ask, what's your timeline? Now you know what's important about having a bigger space, because we can't motivate anyone, but we can motivate them by understanding what's important to them, Cito. So if we really understand what's important to her about having a bigger house, that's your argument on why she doesn't want to put money into her current home. She wants to just sell it, get the money she can get for it, and then buy a new house that's bigger, that will give her all the things that she wants for her family. But you need to know what that is in order to have that conversation.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Diego, what's up, man? And Diego, guys, is another one who knows his scripts. He's on the phone. He lead gens. Listen to how he talks. He knows what he's doing. What's up, Diego?
I just wanted to add a little bit to what Cito was saying. And I also heard something. And look, every agent, we're all independent, right? And we own our own business and we work our business how we want. Now, for me, I'm not personally, I'm not in the business of convincing people to do anything. I'm in the business of advising people, right? Advising my sellers and buyers. And if I was in your shoes and something like this was happening, get in touch with a contractor and get them to see how much it's really going to take for them to do what it is that they need to do to live a better life in that house where they are now. And then, put it on a scale. Which do you choose? Do you choose to do this or do you choose to do that? I'm giving you all the information. Now you make an informed decision.
I did give her the names of the 2-3 contractors. They came and saw her and the house and everything, and it does need like a lot of renovations. So that's why she's kind of confused. Also, one thing I found out also about it is that she's divorced. So her husband left the country, but everything reminds her of him, everything she sees is him in it and she hates it. That's another reason as well. So
Cito, that's really good information that you gathered. So, when you're doing sales, you really want to get people to see the big picture. I would sit down with her and not on the phone, in person. I was like, I just want you to imagine this, right? Imagine you're in this house and your kids have more space and they have their own bedrooms, right? But more importantly, I want you to imagine waking up every day in the new house where there are no bad memories, right? See, Diego's holding the book up. exactly what to say for real estate agents. What I just said, I got from that book that Diego's holding up.
I have that book.
Read that book.
Imagine.
Read this book. This is the
Yes.
book
Listen to
that
the
will give
audio
you.
too.
It helps me talking to my daughters. Like, it's not just for real estate. Imagine when you're living in a house and you wake up every day and there's nothing to remind you about your ex-husband. How's that going to feel? When she tells you how that's going to feel, that's how you get her to list with you. Because logic
You
makes
gotta lean
people
in.
think. Right. Lean in. Logic makes people think. Emotion makes people act. When you can find out the emotional reason that they want to sell, you can get them to actually make a decision. Cito has the information. Now she has to be comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. That's an uncomfortable conversation to have with someone. And yet I always say this, your income is in direct proportion with your ability to have difficult conversations with your sellers and your buyers. And so you have to bring that up. You have to talk about it. That's going to get them to take action. So again, the 5 questions are, when you sell this house, where are you going to? That's number 1. Number 2, why is that important to you? Number 3, what will it do for you? Number 4, how will it make you feel? And number 5, what's your time frame? And here's the thing I want you guys to understand. When you're asking these questions, yes, you're a real estate agent, also be a human. So if people are telling you things like, hey, I just got a promotion and I'm moving for this great position, take a minute to say, congratulations on that. I'm happy for you. That's awesome. Like, don't just go to the next question. Say something that makes them understand that you are part of the conversation and that you actually hear them. And if they start sharing things with you, sometimes before you keep talking, stop for a second to say, tell me a little bit more about that, and learn to shut up, because that's the biggest thing we have. We want to keep talking and convincing. And if we let people talk and get their feelings out, they'll show us how to sell them. So get them to tell you more. Tell me a little bit more about that. Tell me about this job. Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. Like, get into it. You spend more time around the motivation questions, they will tell you what you need to say to get them to list. Our problem is we've been making calls for 2.5 hours and nobody's answering our calls. And we get that one person and they give us like a green light and we feel like things are going good. We skip all the questions in the script and we drop everything and we run to their house. We're doing ourselves a disservice when we do that. We should take some time and actually dig into it a little bit more and get some more information. All right, so here's the next one. You guys ready? And I want the person who's like, I don't want to raise my hand to actually raise your hand. I want you to get out of your comfort zone, learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Hey, we don't need an agent. We've actually sold our homes before, so we're good. We don't need an agent. How do you handle that? And I want someone who hasn't spoken yet. I will call on you, and just because your camera's off doesn't mean I won't call on you. So
I'll dive in.
There we go. Sean, my man, I love it. Give it to me.
So tell me about your experience with selling homes in the past.